All right. Third time's the charm. Hopefully this works. Everyone can hear me. And we're back in and it's all functioning again. Let me do a speed run at the introduction once more for people who come back to watch this later. Welcome to the Tokotas mini podcast. We're catching up on the second third of gardening. I expect there to be probably one more of these about the last third of gardening. Last time we did this, it was during the week. It was very spur of the moment. And guess what? This one and the next one will be too. Sorry. Kind of just how it is. We're a week into gardening. We're about to go over the next steps. Last time we saw plowing and planting, and I will be happy to show everybody those again because we've got some new icons that we want you all to take a look at, though chat super helped. And I'm hoping to get lots of feedback from everybody about where we stand on the current steps and questions I have going into the next part, which I'll explain all in detail as we go through them. Given this is the third time I've had to do this introduction, I am being very brief about it this one. Also, if you're here and you've just tuned in to the madness that is my third attempt to go live today, you can head over to Discord. There's a raffle going on where you're going to give me your positive weather or plot events that could happen. Do not give me double yield. Yes, I know you all want a double yield. Am I going to give it to you? Probably not today, but someday I'll get talked into it. Give me other ideas. Okay, wonderful. Now, let's see if this screen capture works correctly this time. Popping it on, and then scrolling it down. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Did that seem... Okay, it looks like it worked on my side. If it's not working on your side, please, for the love of, ping done so she knows. And I can,
Click on something so I can see it. Okay, I see your cursor moving.
Do you see the pop-up?
Yes.
Glorious! Okay, whew. Nasty. Alright, well then let me pop on over my database real quick and reset us all. Dun dun dun! Okay, so I want you back to 0. I want you back to 0 because I know what all of these numbers mean in my sleep right now. And let me go reset my energy as well. Nope. That is a 0, not a 100. All right, and I've reset my energy. Perfect. Again, I'll re-go over what I said for the sake of this recording, and we'll speed run to the things you all actually care about, the things you're here to know. So previously what we had finished was plowing and planting. Since then I have made one update to it based on some feedback and a conversation with Dunn. Dirt was always supposed to be involved. So what I've done, pun intended, is I've added dirt as a selection here. You're like, Jill, why is it a select? Why isn't it just a how much you have in your inventory? Because I know myself and I'm going to do multiple dirts. It will happen. Now I don't have to go back and recode for it. It will just work that way. Additionally, you need 5 dirt to plow. I put it up here so you would see it. And then you know how much is in your inventory. Yes, you must use the same 5. And no, I'm not going to make it a multi-select. That's insanity. All right? Cool. So let's go ahead and plow this field. As you can see, Arumi's starting to get a little better at it. Select the dirt. Confirm. Boom. Success. So what we're looking at here is plot 2 is completely unprepared, not ready to plant anything to plant in it. Plot 1 is ready to be planted in. It's been plowed. And as I talked about last time, we are still doing that bonus. So what happens is if you are super successful at plowing the field, I think it's about an 80% chance a 20% chance to be super successful. Lots of experience and faction will play into making you more successful at that. Then you get a plow bonus. I'm not calling it the plant bonus anymore, calling it the plow bonus. And that will look like this. It'll look like a little plow, cute little plow with a plus symbol next to it. And that means that when you go to plant here, it will take less energy. I will make sure that's all up on the little modal pop-ups, but that's what it looks like. All right, and then let me go ahead and plow this as well because I am just going to go and reset my energy every time I need it. All right, so here we go. Simple and easy. And then for planting, you're going to select who, you're going to select this packet. We have made the decision at this point as we moved from planting to grow stages. Dunn and I had very big conversations about seed packets. Seed packets are going to be random. You do not buy alder seeds. You do not buy edible mushroom seeds. You do not buy coffee seeds. You buy packets. Seasonal seed packet was the one that Secret set up for us, and it's what I'm using as my tester right now. I think it's set to plant trees. But we'll be able to build seed packets that hand you things based on random rarities, random families, random seasons, and all of that. And that's what we're going to do with that. So let me give this to Arumi, confirm, boom. All right, now you can see the seed is planted. It looks like this because I don't know what it is. So it's an unknown plant. If it was a known plant, I would see their family sprout icon instead. And we have this nice little red watering can that lets me know this hasn't been watered today. Okay? So there'll be 2 visual indicators towards watering. Going to go to that in a moment. I'm going to point out something else that's changed between last time and now, and then we'll move on to everything new. We renamed the seasons. So we had been talking about there being a dry season, a wet season, a cold season, a hot season, and we were calling them that and moving them in. As Dunn started doing the work of laying them out so that seeds and families were affected by these, or at least we could create seasonal packets so there would be a season associated with each of them, it was breaking the suspenders too much. Suspension of belief is part of playing games. You need to know that it's going to be authentic feeling, not accurate to how real life works. This is not accurate to how gardening works. Every single one of these plants has a different set of rules to grow it correctly. We're not doing that, obviously. So she sat around to do that. And in doing it, we determined, this is too much of a suspension break. Because most things only really fit into like 1, maybe 2 of these things, of our seasons. So we've renamed them. Functionally, they will work the same. They will be a new season every month. And that season will play a part in harvesting. And we will go over what part that is in the harvest action. But the new seasons are vernal, hibernal, autumnal, and estival. Thank you. That was the one that I wasn't sure I could say correctly. So that's what they are. Yes, they do sound familiar. Yes, we just picked some fancy words, but they're close enough, and they're everything we want for this. And Tartok is in season for 2 of these seasons. Tani is in season for the other 2 of these seasons, and every other region gets 1, but it does get the poor and the excellent regional compatibility, which matters for yield. Again, we'll go over it in harvesting. So, before I kick off how watering works, how plant health works, here's what we're going to do for everything else, because these all play together towards harvesting. If there's questions, drop them now. I'll do my best to answer them. And then off we go to the land of watering. And I'll go ahead and say 5 minutes left on that current raffle. I think we've had enough time for people to type some stuff up.
Let me read your question. I will go check on the quacking noises.
Yeah, is that quacking? I don't know.
Are we going to be able to craft seed packets from the crops we already have?
I don't know. Go ahead, then. I'll answer the question. Honestly, I don't know. Seed packets right now are going to be available in the farmer's market. I don't know if there's going to be any limits on them since they're already random, right? You're only going to use like 9 of them at a time maximum, and the rarity in them will be randomized at all points in time unless the seed packet is specifically like a rare seed packet. Then it will be random among all the rare plants, but otherwise the inside of the seed packet, unless the rarity has been set to a very specific rarity, it's always going to be random between whatever filters we're using, which right now we're going to have rarity, season, and not to be too confused with yield seasons, because regions have yield seasons, plants just have flavorful seasons, and region, and what was the other one you wanted? Rarity, region, season, and family. So those 4 filters combined will make something. I've also put in there, in case I ever need to overwrite it for some reason, I can create a specific seed packet in my current system without having to recode things, but we have no intention of it. So as far as crafting them goes, I mean, I'm not sure what you would be crafting other than a random seed packet, which we intend to put in the farmer's market and maybe have like the rare ones be prizes for things every now and then. But I will ask the master of the crafting system, that's you done, if she wants that, and she can think on it.
I will think on it. Also, it's not quacking, it's clucking. He has that chicken game out.
I thought it sounded like clucking, but because it wouldn't stop, it did kind of sound like quacking too. So okay, got it. That's fine. He's just on a mission to be as loud as possible. Kids. Okay, cool. Any other questions?
Nothing so far.
Beautiful. Then it is time to move on to the next phase of this. All right, so let me go ahead and reset my energy. Yeah, I know. Secret had buttons to make her life easier. I didn't do that.
What else is new?
Yeah, what else is new, right? So now, next step would be your plant care. I'm calling it care instead of maintenance because maintenance is a long word and I don't want to have to spell it every single time I do this. Plus, I'm not necessarily absolutely certain I know how to spell maintenance. I'm one of those people that switches those letters around. Thank God I don't like write books or something. This would be terrible. But, so it's plant care. Okay, plant care. Now, when you click on the plant after it's been planted, you get this lovely little screen. This screen will tell you what plot you're dealing with. This is an unknown sprout. Plants are going to have 4 stages. There is sprouts, seedlings, ripening, and ready to harvest. We looked at a bunch of plant life cycles. Sprout came before seedling. I swore it was the other way around, but I'm going to trust the gardening website over myself. And then ripening just made the most amount of sense before harvest. There was lots of names. We just narrowed it down to this list. So this is what stage it's in. So sprout, seedling, ripening, and harvest are the stage. And then this would be the plant name. It's unknown, so we don't know anything about it. After we harvest it the first time, we will learn what it is. And then next time it comes around, it'll say something like rowan sprout. I'm trying to think of another name of one of these, that they're all escaping me. Alder sprout. I have to go back to alder every time because I can't remember any of their names on the spot.
Apple, orange, banana.
Banana sprout. Again, suspension of disbelief. Like, you gotta, like, we know. We know. Just roll with it. And then you'll have the plant's health. This kicked off with 33 hit points. Shouldn't call them hit points. This kicked off with 33 life out of 100. All right? We've made decisions on that if your plant hits 0, it will wither. How much things go up and down, I have slightly arbitrary numbers in place for that right now. Through vast amounts of testing and a very messy alpha, those numbers will be moving up and down to create a fun, casual experience, but still allow some level of strategy. And like, you're gonna have to really neglect to absolutely screw up. But even then, because the cost of doing it will be so low, it's not a big deal if you do. So 0 will wither your plant, and it'll wither on the day that it hits 0, and then you'll need to remove it from your plot to do that again. I think removal will cost energy, but I think it'll be just a static energy that's not affected by anything. All right. So, and then also here it has grow length. For grow length, we have short, medium, and long. The way that'll be working is short is the day you plant doesn't count, really. It's like, it's day 0. So the day you plant is day 0, and that's the planted date right here. So I planted that seed yesterday, actually. No. I might need to check that math. That should say today, because I definitely planted that today. I'm going to need to check that math real quick. But regardless, it's going to have a planted day, and then it'll go through it'll be a sprout on planted day, then it'll go through seedling, ripening, and finally harvest. For a short, that's from the day you planted it, it's 4 days total. So the day you planted it as a sprout, the next day it's a seedling, then it will be ripening, and on the 4th day you will harvest it. Okay? This is probably a short harvest based on these dates that I'm seeing right now, that I've rolled a short harvest, which makes sense. I think I set all of them to short harvest for testing purposes. A medium harvest is 6 days, so 7 total, including the plant day. So, and it'll move between the stages evenly, and then when it goes ready for harvest, you'll see the harvest symbol, and that'll be that. And then finally, long is 9 days, grow time, so 10 days altogether when you include that day that you plant it. And then you'll be able to do that. We are able to and going to set those per plant rather than by family, which had been our original inclination. So there will be mushrooms that have a short, medium, and long grow time. There will be trees that have the same, and rarity does not play a, it may play a influence on us as we're setting the grow times, but this isn't a specific formula we have in mind. We're going to do a little bit of trial by heart. Dunn will come up with reasons why things move up and down the grow times, and we'll have those sorted out for the beta release for sure. For at least the alpha release, we'll have something in place. So that's grow time. And then this is the day you're going to harvest it. We're going to tell you the day it harvest is right off the bat. We just don't see a good reason to hide it. That it's not a super secret-y system. I mean, you're going to know what the plant is the first time after you identify it, right? So we're doing that. Then if there... Would I actually need a vent on there? Because events happen overnight.
I don't know.
Huh. Yeah, I'm not sure. That field may disappear. Now that I'm working on the day processing, things in the UI will change to accommodate. But event, so maybe if like there's a weather event or something that's affecting this or something of that nature, an ongoing event, maybe I'd need to put that on there. Something that'll hurt you tomorrow too if you don't guard. So event may or may not be there. Does this plot have weeds on it? Yes or no? You want that to be a no. Has this plot been watered? Yes or no? You want that to be a yes. Is this plot guarded? Yes or no? You probably want that to be a yes. All right. But this is the UI that you'll see no matter what stage they're in. This is what it'll look like all the way up until harvest. Okay. You pick which action that you want to take. I've put it in the direction of water, weed, and guard. When you select on it, it'll then tell you your tokos and how much energy. You'll see your Rumi's is up because she is now winded. If you see it all over here, kind of faded out, she's winded. If you switch, it'll reset it because it's going to recalculate based on what action that you take as well. So water, we're going to go ahead and have Alfred water and confirm. All right, so when he watered, the plant health has increased by 7. It'll tell you that watering increases plant health. Right now, I want to say it's between 5 and 10 random. Then your watering experience will play a part, and your faction, I think, will play a part. If you're the correct watering faction, which I think is PB, then you get like a +2 to the plant health when you do that. So this probably just rolled a 7 because he doesn't have any watering experience, and that's how much health it went up by. So if I click on it again, you'll see, boom, the unknown sprout's health is now 40. Every day it will naturally decay down. And days that you don't take care of weeds, it will also decay. So I'm going to pop into the database and I'm going to put weeds on this plot so you can see what that looks like. Garden, weeds. Yeah, give me that, please. Okay. And then I'll refresh. So after the last podcast, Cap graciously made us some little weed icons because she did so much of this art in general for what's going on here for all the plants. So she made us this little weed icon that we can put around the side, and that's your visual indicator. There are weeds on this plot that you need to take care of. I've done my best to try and have visual indicators of what is happening and not happening, because at some point you will have 9 of these, and it will be annoying to click in and out of all 9 of them all the time. So I've done my best on the visual indicators. So when you weed, you'll come in here, you'll just pick someone, you'll confirm, Tally successfully weeded this plot. If you're super successful at weeding, you may also increase the plant's health. I think it's like a 20% shot, and your weeding experience will increase that chance that you give it back. I want to say I did 5. I don't think I randomed it. I'm pretty sure I said it gives you about 5 health back. So there's a chance that after you've weeded something, its health will go up as well. If you don't weed something, it will take more damage on the rollover, and it will take damage for every day you didn't weed it. Okay? So that's how that weeding works. And then I'm going to talk guarding, and then I'll backtrack slightly, and we'll ask for questions, and then we'll do harvesting. All right? So I told you before there's two concepts of events that are happening. We're going to have our weather event, which could be clear skies, which I think is just our standard. Snowstorms, frost, rain. I have a couple ideas. I've asked you all to give me some more ideas. And then I'm going to ask you for your negative ideas later, too. Oh, right. Can we close that raffle?
Yes, I will close that raffle.
Definitely been more than 5 minutes. So close that raffle. And then we'll do 2 gold slots, just like the last one.
All right, can do.
Perfect. All right, done's off on that. So, guarding is the concept of a Toko guarding this slot against basically negative plot events. I don't know if there's going to be positive ones yet. We'll see if anyone came up with anything good that I'm like, oh, hells yeah, we got to do that. What?
Just one of Craig's suggestions.
Oh, is that good, huh?
It's the crying bride.
Oh, geez. Okay. So guard, and I'll pick Alfred to guard, and I'll hit confirm. And then it says, hey, Alfred is guarding this plot. Cool. And now you'll see I have this little purple shield in the corner. We picked the purple because it did show up well against both colors, watered and unwatered. So you would be able to see it. Big shout out to, I think it was Tina, Kep, and oh, who else was it? There was someone else who was there and was super helpful. Oh, now I feel like an asshole. Now I feel like a jerk because I can't remember the name. But to everyone who showed up in Gen Chat yesterday or the day before to go through my icons with me at length and pick colors and was forced to do hex colors, like, y'all rock. That was pain. It was painful. Even with help, it was painful. But at least now it's done, and we know we have enough contrast. Everyone, including semi-blind people like me, can see it.
7 Ella. 7 Ella are your winners.
Okay. Congratulations to 7 Ella. You won a gold slot. You may still participate in the next raffle, which is going to have the same prize, but you cannot win the prize. But congratulations! Woo! Okay. So, once a slot or a plot is guarded, then overnight events such as deer or Dunn had a whole list. We had like 10 of them. And we were thinking like, well, deer do more damage to this one and someone else does more damage to this family. And like, we're going to have some negative events that happen. If you're guarded, you prevent any sort of extra damage from that. It just does not happen. Your Toko is there, and a Toko can guard multiple plots. If I decide that Alfred is going to be my guard Toko, he can do all 9 as long as he's got the energy to do it. Like, there's enough energy here in the bar for you to do all 9. He can. No problem. So, his bonus comes into play overnight, and you'll see it the next day. That's one of the beasts I'm working on. You'll see... next podcast, you'll see what it looks like. But basically, if an event kicks off overnight, he prevents any damage from happening, and then there is a chance that he will bring back an additional prize. Maybe it could be seeds, maybe it's a deer pelt, maybe it's a rabbit. That's still very up in the air. Events will be probably a little more nebulous until we actually go live than they currently are. But he'll get a bonus to getting the prize, basically. And I want to say that PL is the faction for Garden, so they will also get like a bonus to their random chance to get the prize if they guard against an event. Events do run by plot, so that is 9 chances, meaning the chance that we're playing with that, because weather affects the whole garden. You only roll it once a day, but you could have up to 9 attempts at a plot event, which means you could have up to 9 attempts at a prize, so we'll be balancing that for a bit. And that's what guarding does for your thing. So the reason I said we're going to backtrack, so if you've got questions, go ahead and write them down. I'm going to backtrack and make a point, and then I'll answer your questions, and off to harvesting we go. Every one of these actions and your experience in it has twofold things that are happening. And I want to point that out so you understand it. Firstly, every single action, the more you do it, imbues a decrease to the amount of energy it takes to do the action. They are different across actions. So plowing, planting, and harvesting, they have like a bigger negative to them. So gotta say that better. They have a smaller step up to get more and more of a bonus. You only need to, right now, 10 times to get a decrease. And when you hit 20, you'll get another decrease. Whereas watering gardening and weeding have like a 25 because you're going to be more likely doing those more times a day. That's my thought process on that. But at some point, it also does max out, where there's a maximum bonus that you're going to get to your energy costs to bring it down. So every single one of these, your experience plays into bringing down the cost to do the action. They all have a secondary effect. For plowing, your experience gives you a better chance at getting the plow bonus to bring your planting costs down again. In planting, your experience gives you. Oh, I know the answer to this. And now I feel crazy because I can't remember what I did for planting, even because it was days ago, it feels like. Plant seeds. I'm looking at code, everybody. So sorry. I'm filling space with time and me talking while I go and I check what it is. Health. Health. That's right. The more experience you have, the higher starting health your plants will start with. So your planting experience will imbue a bonus to your plant's starting health. Your watering experience will increase the amount of health a plant regains when you water it. Weeding experience plays into getting health back. I said there was that little chance that if you weed super successfully, your plant will regain some health. That's the weeding. And for gardening, it's that bonus. It's the extra chance, not the extra chance, it's the increased chance to get rewards when you successfully guard against something. Keeping in mind that you always guard successfully. Okay? So that's those. Those are the 5 actions. You can see them from beginning to end here and what they look like. Questions?
You have many questions.
I bet I do. There's a lot of new information there. All right, from the top, let's go.
Okay. Will the short, medium, long times be cuttable, shortened by gardening experience, bonding, tier, UT in some way?
I really don't think so. I think that may be one of the things that doesn't change. First off, short is basically as short as it gets. Like, it's not a very long time. Experience will definitely not be something that brings it down. A UT, that sounds really, really powerful. So
that would have to be a charge-based UT, if anything.
It would have to be a charge-based, but because they're grow times, how many charges can we really give you a month that you're not basically going to take every big plant you get and bring it down? Right? So there's a lot of balance involved in a UT. If it was going trait, UT would be the answer, though, given how powerful that bonus is. As per, like, tack and items, tack's probably no. Some sort of consumable out of crafting, that's a big maybe. So it sits in with UTs, it's big maybe. I would have to be convinced it isn't unbalancing stuff too much. It might still be like it doesn't work on rare plants, right? But we'll see. We'll see. So as of right now, no plans to do that. That might be one of those hard lines, like you can't add a main or a mutation to a Toko in breeding. You can't cut grow times. Okay, next.
Is there going to be fertilizer in the future to potentially decrease growth time or increase harvest amount? We have the art for it. We just, I don't think it's part of this.
It's not an MVP, which I think you understand that. That's your question sounded like you really did. We do have art for fertilizer. We do have wants to bring it in. I don't know. Fertilizer might do something along the lines of giving you a chance at getting +1 to your yield when you're done. +1 is a bigger bonus than it sounds. And maybe to like increasing your rarity odds when you plant seeds. Like there's a possibility, but we're not putting it into play in MVP. But yes, we do have intentions of having some sort of other consumables to allow you to alter things. But we need to see how it works without that before we put it in, right? I need my data. Like everything else I do, I need my months of data to see what it actually looks like long term. And then I can make smart choices for what bonuses we can and can't add and make sure that we don't unbalance the gardening economy that will be building around this system. All right.
Are there going to be tools we can craft or buy to decrease the Toko's energy used or to help yield more crop in... Sorry, that's just me. Or to help yield more crop or increase health. Also, will there be bonding traits for gardening?
So tools, we'll definitely have tools, not MVP. I really suspect it'll be phase 2, maybe even phase 3 before we have tack, because tack is a permanent bonus, right? You don't have tack slots, so anytime I give you tack, it's always there and I can do nothing about it.
We have art assets for tools, but I think they were intended to be more consumable than anything.
I think they were intended to be more consumables than anything. So tack is a possibility. Um, Having tack decrease the energy cost to some degree is a pretty nice idea. That might make a little bit of sense as long as it's not too much. Because even a -2 to your energy will stack up over time pretty quickly. Um, so tack is on my to-do list, maybe phase 2 or phase 3, not MVP. And then the other half of that was a bonding trait.
For UT. Or bonding for gardening.
I don't know.
I mean, very viable for us to do a 3-tiered bonus. I don't know what we would do, but doable.
Yeah, but it's doable, especially because you need to bond a Toko to have them come in and do the gardening. So, it's, again, a big maybe. It's a big maybe leaning yes. I don't have a plan for it, but I will put it on maybe the phase 2 to-do list. Maybe we can just do something with energy again, because energy is just going to be a really important concept of this entire thing.
Mm-hmm. It'll take shape as we get the final system.
It'll take shape. We'll see where we can use that bonus and we can fit something in. I think it's maybe even safe to say that if we do bonding, a bonding level up like we currently have for the other ones, that it'll be one of the first things we do when adding bonuses to the system.
Agreed.
Yeah. Anything else?
Do the Toko species affect the stats when it comes to gardening?
Nope, they do not. I have no intention of doing that.
Cleverness scene.
Yeah, everyone, and my reason is kind of a little superfluous. Everyone has favorite Tokos. They have Tokos that they will definitely want to bond, and Tokos that they have because they look really nice and various things. But you might not bond your shiny show Toko, and you might not bond your breeding masterpiece, right? And you might not bond your activity Toko, but you might bond the first Toko you got because you have a bunch of sentimental value to it. And let's be fair, a lot of the first Tokos people got are not that exciting. Build, marking, whatever wise. Some people Novak, Arumi, right? And it's completely possible. So I don't really want to instigate people bonding Tokos that they wouldn't even really want to bond just to get a bonus in gardening. I think it's fairly safe to say that everyone's got at least 2 or 3 Tokos that they really love out of their hordes. My giant horde, some people's less giant hordes, but yeah.
And by bond Tokos you don't want to, we mean like builds. Like, I can't draw Nakota to save my goddamn life.
Right, you cannot. Also, it creates a bunch of overhead for me every time that we create a new build. We're going to have to figure out where they fit in gardening. So, no, I have no intentions of that, but thank you for putting it in my head because I walked myself through it and went, no, I don't want to do that. Next.
That's it.
Oh, that's it. Okay. Cool. All right. So, before I kick off harvesting, I will kick off my second raffle. The second raffle is to go into Discord raffles and give me negative events that have negative consequences based on everything that you've seen right here. I will not accept you don't get your harvest is ruined. I don't want a negative event like that. Way too brutal. But negative events for weather, negative events for plots that could happen. Give me your thoughts, and that one will run until I'm done explaining how harvesting works. Okay, so I had a little rubber duck session this week in Discord. I popped in, and Scry, big shout out to Scry, came in to kept being like, I don't think I can help you at all, Jill. And I'm like, your existence is helping right now. Your very existing. This is a blessing. Alcestian came in at the halfway point, and I was dyeing my hair and myself basically purple. It was a mess. It got everywhere. I wasn't supposed to get everywhere. It just did. So I was in the bathroom. I'm doing that. I have my Discord open. Scry pops in. Scry's just typing, and I am explaining to them I'm trying to solve how much you yield in harvesting. Like, I'm trying to solve this problem, and I just need to talk. And they're like, I can't help you at all. Incorrect. Super helpful. They wrote out everything as I said it to, so even more helpful on top of that. I just needed somebody to talk at that was capable of responding. A wall wasn't enough. So here's what we did. Let me move this through for a second so we can see it. Grow status 3. All right. Pop this over. Jump back over here. Refresh. So that would be seedling. This will be ripening. And remember, this is for unidentified plants. When you have identified plants, they will have different sprites based on their family. That is the one for ripening. And then pop back over and get this to harvest. And the reason I want us to get to harvest is because that's where we're going to be. Okay. Boom. So now when we're harvesting, we're going to get this little green trowel in the corner. And that tells us this plant is ready to harvest. Additionally, it'll be in its final form of its stage 4 sprite. So between the two of those things, you should be pretty sure it's ready to harvest. This is what it will usually look like, because I don't think you're going to water it after that point. But maybe you will if I'm like, you can't harvest it today, so you're going to water it. I'm back and forth on that part still. Weed status, water status, and no guard. Sorry, I'm in the database updating the fields real quick so that they look the way that I wanted to. And then I will pop back and do one more refresh. Okay. There we go. This is very likely what it's going to look like when something is ready to harvest. You'll have the little green trowel, you'll have the medium brown dirt here, and then the big final stage icon. And when you click on it, it'll say harvest plant. And you'll see that it doesn't have all the actions on there because it doesn't need them. It's still unknown. And all of this other details, have you watered it, have you weeded it, that's gone for the moment. I literally just convinced myself I might need to add watering, weeding back into this, but I'll cross that bridge after this podcast. And then you'll say, okay, I want to harvest. So here's how harvesting is going to work. This is not a secret formula. This is me telling you exactly how it works. The rarity of your plant will determine your base range, and it is a range. We have common, uncommon, and rare. Common plants have a 1, 2... Just open the code. Why are you trying to guess other things? Harvest plant. Here we go. So I'm literally reading to you the code of how this works as we go. So if you are a common plant, you have a 1 to 5 base range. An uncommon is 1 to 4, and a rare is 1 to 3. Remember, this does not specifically mean your grow time. Your grow time and your rarity are different things. Okay? So that's how that works. And this is where your region starts coming into play. Cancel this. So here, this is all neutral, but if I was in a different region where it wasn't neutral, if I am an excellent compatibility, so let's say this turns out this is a mushroom, and I'm in the place with an excellent mushroom, then my range is increased by 1, regardless of rarity, which would mean for common plants, it becomes a 6, for uncommons, it's a 5, and for rares, it's a 4. If I have poor compatibility, then it goes down instead, which turns into 4, 3, 2 on the rarity scale. That's your range. That's what happens for compatibility. That's all it changes. It increases your maximum that you can get. Season, so we talked about season. Here in Tartok, Vernal or Hibernal is the correct season. And up here we know it's autumnal, so this would not match. But if I'd been in Tanya, it would. It increases your minimum by 1 if you are in season. So if you are in season and excellent condition, common plant, it would be 2 to 6. If you are in season, excellent condition, rare plant, it would be 2 to 4. If you are in season, poor condition, rare plant, I think it's a 1 at that point. It's a 2. Because the 3 would come down 1, and the 1 would come up 1, so you get 2. It wouldn't even be a range, you just get 2. But that's how it works. The region compatibility increases the maximum that you could get or decreases it. If it's neutral, it just leaves it alone. And if you're in season, your minimum comes up 1. That's the entire concept of how it works for your yield. As of right now, there are no events that are affecting that, and there are no traits or tools that are affecting that. I have heard till people are blue in the face, they want a double yield event. Well, until I know how these guarding things affect the system, how it's coming in and the numbers that are happening affect the system, and I know they're probably going to have to tweak. I have the benefit of Secret's previous beta to help me make different decisions, but I never believe that I'm going to do it perfectly the first time round. So these will probably shift again, and I can't say we can do doubles until I do it. What if I discovered like 3 to 8's actually the normal for common, and then a doubling of that is 16? That's too much, right? So I can't do a double event yet. But that's where we're standing on harvesting. That's how it works. I'm going to pause for a second to see if anyone has questions on that formula, and then I'll move on to the next piece of what it looks like when you harvest and how it pops up and all of that. Because there is another, you're probably like, hey, you haven't talked about TB's faction bonus yet, and you haven't talked about how harvesting experience works because you didn't include it in that whole conversation we just had. You are correct. I did not, because it does something else. So I'll give it a moment. I'm going to take a drink of this wonderful, wonderful pepperminty coffee because it is the best time of the year where peppermint returns. And I would drink it all year round.
You do. As long as our Dutch brothers will give us peppermint, we will order peppermint.
Like, we showed up in May, and the bro was like, my girls, we don't have it. We ran out of peppermint. And I was like, if I bring you peppermint, will you put it in things? He goes, I really wish I could, but I seriously can't. And I was like, okay, like, I appreciate your honesty. And then when we showed up in September, he was like, peppermint's back. They gave us peppermint. You can just start ordering peppermint things again. Like, we got special privilege because I drink peppermint for as long as I can during the year. And they recognized Dun's werewolf car.
How dare you?
Yeah. Did we pop any questions?
No, nothing so far.
I love it when I'm so perfect that no one ever questions what I'm saying. No, I don't. I actually
No,
feel really, really bad about that. I don't trust that at all.
You're talking numbers. Everybody's brain's gone,
Oh, come on. These were easy numbers.
My brain was going, following you.
It's fine. We will put it up on Tokopedia.
With a nice little table
with
and all
a
that jazz.
Beautiful table so that you can see what it looks like. I'm not going to make you do math. I'm just going to give you the answers. I don't make anyone do math they don't have to do. I only make you do math when you need a life lesson.
God.
But it's true. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, where does your harvesting experience and your faction, if you're TB, come into play? It comes into play at Wither. You'll notice when we pop this up, I've still got the plant's health on this page. That's because it matters. I went back and forth talking, and I came to the conclusion that if you don't take care of your plants, like you just completely ignore them, and I'm not even saying purposefully, I'm not saying not purposely, I'm just saying if your plants get ignored, but they still survive to harvest day, if your plant's health is below 20, so if it's 20 or lower, there is a chance that your harvest will fail. If your plant's health is 21, doesn't matter, you succeed. End of story. There's no roll, there's no nothing. There's no roll or anything like that. You just succeed. So 21 and up, success, no roll, you're good to go. If your plant's health is 20 or lower, keeping in mind that the more you do this, the higher your starting plant healths are going to be, the more health you give everything. So, like, this is not going to be a super common situation if you're even checking in every other day. But if your plant health is 20 or lower, then you have to roll. What I've done for that is I've set it to a 50-50. 50% chance, nothing happens, right? I don't want that in an event because you can't do anything to influence events. So it's not really fair. But I will do it on the action you take to harvest. So 50-50, you get nothing. 50%, it works like normal. You don't take any other negative to it. It just works. Okay? Your harvest experience is going to play into that, and so will the TB faction. So if your TB faction, I think it's like a 5. I need to go check. The factions don't have like a set bonus because like a rarity bonus, which I think is what LK is getting, 2 seeds, A 5 on that is very different than a 5 to reduce the energy to plant for WT. So they're not identical numbers. If you have maximum plow or maximum harvesting experience and you're the faction, you bring that 50% success to a 70% success. And I've only moved it to there because I have every intention of giving traits and tools and other things that you can do to bring that up to like a 90% success rate. So I'm giving myself 20% to work with. So if something has gone wrong and your plant was under 20 and you harvest, then your harvesting experience and your faction come into play there. You will not use this bonus every single time you harvest, but you will be happy to have it when something has gone wrong and have made that decision. Alcesti and Scry talked to me about it. I went around in a circle a bunch of times about things it could or couldn't do because I didn't want it to affect how much you got per se. And that's what I landed on there. All right, so let's go ahead and have Arumi. I have enough energy. Harvest. Oh, maple. Sweet. So, Arumi has successfully harvested this plot. I rolled pretty badly. I'm not in season. This is not an excellent place for this. So I had, and I don't remember what maple is set to for rarity right now. I'd need to go check.
I believe it's uncommon.
It's uncommon? Okay, so
Probably.
I rolled badly. That's fine. So, Arumi has successfully harvested. It tells you what it is. It's maple, and you have harvested the maple. And it'll tell you how many you got right there. I click OK, and as you can see, my plot is now empty and ready for me to plow it again. Just like that. And that's how harvesting is going to work. And you can see my fatigue levels have been updating as I do things. I'm not sure my free actions before fatigue come in, or my levels of moving fatigue might be too high right now. I'm going to be messing with that. I've been watching them as I do all of my stuff. So that's where we're at. All right. And so last thing, I guess not last thing. It's questions, and then I'll move on to last thing. And also, let's go ahead and close up that raffle.
Type faster, Cray.
Type faster, Cray.
With love.
All right, apologies for the silence. Was consuming more peppermint. So this is where I've gotten to. We are firmly at the 70% mark of gardening. Yeah, that's pretty good for a week. Admittedly, very good for a week. But we do still have one pretty massive beast to deal with, which is the rollover. We talked previously in the previous podcast, people were like, oh, can't we just have a button? And other people talked about time. And I did take a look at the pros and cons of both of those, and I've come to a decision. As with most of my decisions, unless I say to you, no, this is a hard and final decision, I'm open to having my mind changed. But you're going to need to come with like some really good argument. So here's what we're doing. The time in your garden is going to just continue to move. The investment of how much you're putting in as far as TT goes and resources go is extremely low. So even if something withers on you, you are not out, using an extreme example. People put together breedings that could cost them $100+, right? To buy the slots, to get all the items that you need, and then you roll 2 standard nat mains and it feels like a waste. Yeah, I get it. Gambling is gambling, and it sucks when it doesn't work. This is not that. Like, you're going to be out maybe 2,000 TT, right? To this, so the stakes are significantly lower over here. So gardening time is just going to move whether you're there or not. And your days will catch up. So when you come in to your garden, if 3 days have passed since the last time you were here, it's going to handle 3 days. I do have some questions that need to get answered in that. 1, do we want events to be happening the entire time? I do have one caveat on those that I may have to bring up, but weather events. I want some to be positive and I want some to be negative. If the positive ones are going to affect you, the negative ones have to affect you. Every negative weather event may not decrease your plant's health though. So, but
Just make it more likely for the plot events to happen.
True. And every weather event may not help you either. So there's a give and take on both sides. There'll be positive and there'll be negative. Many of them that are on my current list are all energy based, which means nothing when you're not there for the day, right? Doesn't mean anything. But I do know I have one about rain that would water your plants for you, so you don't have to spend energy on that today. If you're not going to be here and it waters, well, that's health that's going to come back to you, because why would I deny you the health, right? I wouldn't. I don't see a reason to do that. Um, there might be ones about.
Your winners are Cray and Pretty Burp.
You're very lucky, Cray. So 2 gold slots, Pretty Burb and Cray, congratulations. And I will go through all of these events soon. So I need to figure out if weather events are going to affect you every day or just the day that you come back. And then plot events. We have a whole concept of guarding. So obviously the first night that you were gone, you're protected against those negative ones, for sure. But do we want plot events to be happening every single time? Or do they only happen the day that you roll over, right? That's where I'm a little back and forth. Additionally, harvesting plants. If plants that are ready for harvest, should they be affected by these things? I originally was thinking no, but the more I'm walking you all through my process here, the more I'm leading myself to maybe yes, they might need to be able to be watered and weeded and guarded, just like other plants. Because what if you come in today and you have 6 things to harvest and you can't harvest all of them because of whatever reason? There's some event that came in play that killed your harvesting energy, so you can only get 5 of them. Does that plant sit in stasis, or does it get affected by things? I have to answer that question as well as I'm making this decision. Things that happen on rollover is every plant has a natural decay. Right now, the natural decay is between 5 and 10, and if it has been watered, it lowers that number. I actually just wired that in. So if you watered it the day before, then your natural decay is actually decreased by 2. Whatever you rolled, it goes down by 2. If you've left weeds, and you've left weeds for multiple days, it will do more damage. But if you've left weeds, then you have, I want to say it's a 2 to 5 damage that you can take. But if you haven't weeded this in 3 days, then that would be plus 3. So for every level of weeds you've left, it will be more. Clearing out weeds is still only going to be 1 action. You don't have to fight down the weeds. You just clear them, regardless of how much was stacked up in that plot. So weeds do damage. Pop yourself back over to that real quick so that you are speaking from a place of honesty and not accidentally saying something stupid. All right. So yes, that's harvest. Oh no, rollover's over here. You're in the wrong spot for rollover. Here we go. So resetting the garden. Yeah, there's the natural decay. There's the weed status. Then it would be random event. Random events is another thing that brings your health down from there. Then the guard will come into play for that. And then we have to grow weeds. So right now I'm thinking it's a 50-50 if weeds grow on here. And you only ever going to go up 1 level unless an event comes into play that would change that. But I don't know my events yet, so I can't say for sure. Then we'll determine if you move on to the next grow stage in there, which would also be moving to harvest. And of course, resetting the water status, resetting the guards, and applying any events that happened overnight into that plot. Those are the big things that are going to happen. And if you've been gone for 3 days, it's going to happen 3 times to your plants before you get to your screen. We've been talking about logs as well. We're not going to save every single day in the database for you to come and take a look at how much they lost this day, how much they lost that day, what they gained that day. We're not going to do that. But when you open the page for a day, I'll give you a pop-up of plot 1, here was their decay, here was their weeds, if there was a guard event, anything that's affecting them that you can look through, and when you close it, it's gone. When you harvest a plant, we will log what you harvested. Obviously, you'll have a thing in your inventory, you gained X amount of whatever, but we'll also have a log book with the plants you have grown, how many times you've grown them, and when was the last time you harvested them. And it'll have lots of little fun data like grow times and family and such. The more you harvest it, the more you learn about them. But once you know something, you know something. We can't take that away from you. It does mean, though, that you will know at some point in time when we drop something new and something hits in your garden, you're like, what the heck's that seed? This unknown seed. Well, you'll know there's something new in your garden. That's kind of the thought process there. Okay, so that's what I have planned for rollover. The first run of rollover is there, but it's not fully fleshed out with events. Ergo, have this podcast, get your events. I'll make my list of like my top 5 to kick us off for weather, maybe my top 10 for plot events. And that'll be good enough for us to get through alpha and beta. And I'll decide if I want to add more after that. Am I missing anything?
Nope, I think yeah. Whew.
Yep. Oh, removing plants.
Ah, yes.
For MVP, you can only remove a plant if it has died. So if your plant is dead, there'll be some indicator here to let you know this plant has died. And when you click on it, the only action you can take is to remove. That remove will cost static energy. I don't even think you're going to have to pick a toko. It's just static energy. You'll take it and you'll remove the plant, and then it'll go back to this for you to start over. If your plant dies on harvest, then you're just going to go back to this. You don't even have to spend the energy. It died on harvest. It didn't die beforehand. So those are going to be the only plant removes in MVP. We may have a shovel or something for you to clear out a slot in a later phase, but I'm not planning it for MVP. And then slot unlocks will exist for MVP. I don't have anything to show you yet. That's the next 15 to 20% of my success is doing rollover, wiring and events, doing all of that. And then there's 15 to 10% left, and that'll be doing things like the energy unlocks here, where you'll click on it and choose how much energy you spend, right? Little things that need to be done around the garden. Final CSS and things like that. But that's where we're at. I'm hoping another week, but I mean, it's a pretty big system, so it could be more. Okay, I think that's me. It's all things I had to say at you. It was an hour if you don't account for the time that we were not properly streaming.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. That being said, questions, last minute questions, concerns.
All right. If you don't freeze plants when ready for harvest, could you delay on purpose to get health over 20 for safe harvest?
I mean, sure. If I don't freeze them, that is 100% viable. Mm-hmm. If we do freeze them, then you're stuck with whatever you got. Mm-hmm. Pros and cons.
Yeah.
I would have if I'm not freezing them, I'd have no reason to not let you keep trying to increase its health.
Yeah, makes sense. Nobody else is typing, so I think you may be good.
Okay. Whew. All right, mini podcast number 2. Expect a third one. No, it won't be next weekend. Absolutely can't be next weekend.
Maybe Wednesday before we leave.
Maybe Wednesday before we leave.
Thanksgiving podcast.
Thanksgiving. Maybe I'll do a bigger prize if it's close to another holiday. Mm-hmm. At least an American one. If I was aware of all of the international ones, I would do things on those days too. It's literally a lack of awareness on my part. Every time someone tells me about it, many of my coworkers come from India, so I learn all about the festivals of colors and Diwali and all of those, and we celebrate them in the office because I'm like, why not? I'm down for it. Whatever we're doing, I love to learn a new culture. So when I know them, I will do them, and when I'm aware of them, I will. This time when Diwali passed, though, one of my coworkers' wife had a child, and it kind of blew up the entire day, so I forgot to do something in Tokos. Very happy for him. It did blow up the day. We weren't prepared for it. We should have been. So, yeah. All right. Well, then I think that's everything I had. And I think, oh yeah, fancy compost one day. Maybe. And also, welcome first time chatter. You guys probably chatted forever ago, but I literally don't see it when I'm off on another screen. Which is why I try not to spend too many of these podcasts on another screen. Whew. Oop, that was loud. Sorry. Done? Anything else?
Nope, nothing else.
Nothing else? All right, everybody. Have an awesome Saturday, Sunday. Probably not Friday where you are. And hopefully we'll see you at the next and last mini podcast, which will kick off our really messy alpha for gardening. All right, lots of love. Bye.